Tonight, Tinubu urges unity as Lent and Ramadan commence. Delta State Judiciary swears in new justices of the peace at Asaba. Congratulatory messages pour in for Governor Sherifu Boriwori on national recognition. And abroad, Russia-Ukraine-US talks end without breakthrough. Good evening. Welcome to the Delta Television main news. You can follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or you can visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. Joy Ochei is my name. President Bola Tinubu has called on Christians and Muslims to use the rare convergence of Lent and Ramadan to promote peace, unity, and national stability as they both commence on the same day this year. In a personally signed statement released today, the president described the simultaneous commencement of the two sacred seasons as uncommon, noting that it highlighted the shared values between adherents of both faiths. President Tinubu said the overlap served as a reminder that Nigerians, regardless of religious differences, shared much in common and remained one people under God. The president urged Nigerians observing the sacred periods to demonstrate good neighborliness, promote peace, and pray for the progress and security of the nation. He also prays that the lessons, blessings, and spiritual rewards of the seasons would abide with Nigeria. By Honorable Justice Okolosi. Anthony Amowa reports.
Do solemnly affirm.
The State Chief Judge, Justice Theresa Diaye, represented by Justice Godwin Briskey Okolosi, administered the oath of office to the newly appointed Justices of the Peace, charging them to uphold fairness, integrity, and strict adherence to the rule of law in the discharge of their duties. She emphasized that appointees must demonstrate honesty, impartiality, and accountability at all times in the execution of their responsibilities.
The caliber of individuals screened and found suitable and worthy for the appointment as Justices of the Peace is a reflection of the importance attached to the office by the government of Delta State. It is a position of trust which demands diligence, integrity, and forthrightness at all times. You are expected to discharge your responsibility dutifully for the smooth administration of justice and in the overall interest of justice and peace. Any justice of the peace who does any act which is inconsistent with the functions of his office, or who conducts himself in a manner which makes it unreasonable to continue in office, or who becomes physically or mentally unfit to carry out the responsibility of the office of Justice of the Peace by the government.
Speaking on behalf of the new Justices of the Peace, one of the appointees expressed appreciation for the honor and assured the state government of their commitment to justify the confidence reposed in them.
We do not take this trust lightly, rather, we receive it with humility, a strong sense of responsibility, and a firm resolve to discharge our duties diligently, impartially, and in accordance with the law.
Some respondents present at the ceremony shared their thoughts on the development, highlighting the significance of the appointment for the grassroots justice administration.
Basic responsibility is to keep peace in our communities and to make sure that justice comes to the grassroots.
Highly elected to be so honored. The assignment, by the grace of God, we will do our best.
It's a service to humanity and service to support the judiciary and support the state and Nigeria at large.
It's a very big honor that I've been investitured the Justice of the Peace today.
Making peace all over everywhere I find myself. Now that I've been elevated to this standard, I think I have to follow him and make sure there is peace and tranquility in my LGA
and the state and the country at large.
The ceremony drew a cross-section of the legal community, family members, and well-wishers all gathered to witness the formal induction of the new Justices of the Peace. Antonia Mowa reporting.
Chief Ochonogo describes the award as a testament to the governor's exemplary governance and visionary leadership, especially his commitment to sustainable development of oil-producing communities in the state. He highlighted ongoing infrastructure projects under the governor's administration, including road construction and rehabilitation, jetties, educational institutions, and healthcare facilities. Chief Ochonogo also praised the implementation of the national minimum wage for the SOPADEC staff, noting that it has boosted morale and improved service delivery. He expressed confidence that national recognition will inspire continued excellence in governance, assuring Governor Buriwori of the SOPADEC's unwavering support in advancing socio-economic development across the state's oil-producing communities. Director General of the State Bureau for Orientation and Communications, Dr. Fred Oganeseve, has congratulated Michael Omeru Okori I on the occasion of his 13th coronation anniversary, hailing the monarch as a beacon of peace, unity, and transformational development. In a goodwill message released on Sunday, Oganeseve described Okori I as a royal father of rare grace and grandeur, whose reign has ushered in a golden era for Agbon Kingdom. He noted that the 13 years on the sacred throne represented not merely the passage of time, but a period marked by stability, unity, and measurable progress. According to Dr. Oganeseve, Okori I has combined the calm authority of a seasoned patriarch with the foresight of a statesman, guiding the kingdom through changing seasons with uncommon wisdom. The Director General highlighted that Agbon Kingdom's rising political relevance and expanding infrastructure, including critical road projects championed by Governor Sheriff Oboriwori, was enduring testaments to the monarch's stabilizing influence and visionary leadership. Speaking on legacy of socio-economic and cultural advancement, Dr. Oganeseve emphasized that the monarch has inspired a renewed wisdom for future generations. He reiterated that Okori's legacy will resonate gloriously through generations yet unborn. President Bola Tinubu has appointed the governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, as Renewed Hope Ambassador and Deputy Director General for Party Outreach, Engagement and Mobilization. The appointment, which took immediate effect, was believed to position Mr. Sani to strengthen grassroots engagement, consolidate party structures, and expand support nationwide. According to a statement signed by the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, the decision was conveyed in a formal letter to the governor on Tuesday. President Tinubu, in his capacity as leader of the All Progressives Congress APC, said the appointment was based on Mr. Sani's salient leadership and organizational abilities. The development followed the recent release of the election timetable by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, which scheduled campaigns to commence November 2026 ahead of the 2027 general elections. Political observers said the move signaled early mobilization efforts by the ruling party under Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda as preparations intensify for the next electoral cycle. The Niger Delta Civil Society Forum, NDCSF, has called on President Bola Tinubu to issue an executive fund for oil and gas producing communities, especially the host communities, The call was contained in a statement signed by the forum's coordinator, Ezekiel Kagbala, with copies made available to journalists in Warri, Delta States on Wednesday. According to the forum, the demand for an executive order has become imperative due to what it described as the persistent failure to implement the Derivation Fund in line with constitutional provisions and the original intent of the derivation principle. The NDCSF stated that the derivation framework was designed to directly address the developmental challenges and environmental burdens borne by oil and gas producing communities, but current implementation practices have continued to undermine the objectives. The forum explains that it has sustained public advocacy through electronic and print media while also engaging key federal government institutions to press for corrective action. It noted that parts of the engagements involved the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, which it urged to fulfill its constitutional responsibility by recommending to the President a lawful Thank you for staying on. If you're just joining us, you are watching the Delta Television main news. We'll go on straight to the global scene as we join our news desk.
The talks between Ukraine and the United States aimed at ending Moscow's war in Ukraine have concluded without a major breakthrough. The trilateral meetings, which also involved Russia, were held in Geneva. Reports say discussions continued late into Tuesday and lasted about 2 hours today. Although the United States envoy Steve Witkoff had earlier expressed optimism, both the chief Russian negotiator and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described the discussions as difficult. According to a Ukrainian diplomatic source, some progress were made on key military matters, including the location of the front line and mechanisms for ceasefire monitoring. However, the central issue of territory remained unresolved, while observers reiterated that without agreement on territorial control, a comprehensive ceasefire will be difficult to achieve. Moscow and Kyiv have continued to hold sharply differing positions regarding occupied regions, making a broader political settlement elusive. Diplomatic efforts were expected to continue, but analysts noted that significant gaps remained before any durable peace framework can be finalized. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has rejected Israel's recognition of the breakaway region of Somaliland as an independent nation, warning that it could destabilize an already volatile region. Speaking during a visit to Ethiopia, President Erdogan emphasized that unilateral recognition could provoke regional tensions. In December, Israel became the first country to officially recognize Somaliland, which declared independence from Somalia over 30 years ago. The move angered Mogadishu, which continued to consider Somaliland part of its sovereign territory. Landlocked Ethiopia has yet to comment officially, though plans announced 2 years ago to lease a portion of Somaliland's coastline to build a port had previously drawn protests from Somalia. President Erdogan played a mediating role in resolving that dispute, preventing fears of a wider regional conflict. Reports say Erdogan's latest statement signaled Ankara's continued involvement in East African diplomacy and underscored Turkey's support for regional stability, while opposing unilateral moves that could inflame tensions.
And back home, the chairman of the Dangote Group Aliko Dangote has projected a significant appreciation of the Nigerian naira, saying the currency could strengthen to 1,100 naira per US dollar before the end of the year. Speaking at the launch of the Nigeria Industrial Policy in Abuja, an event attended by Vice President Kashim Shettima, Dangote expressed optimism that ongoing government reforms and reduced import dependency would drive currency stability. Currently, the naira traded around 1,300 to 1,340 naira per dollar. Dangote's comments came amidst renewed investor confidence in the country's markets. According to Bloomberg, Nigerian equities delivered the second-best dollar returns globally in 2026, rising 31% and recovering approximately $21 billion in market value lost during the sharp 2024 naira devaluation. Total market capitalization on the Nigerian Exchange Group has now been projected at roughly $84 billion, about 58% higher than pre-devaluation levels. The performance reflected improving macroeconomic sentiment and increased foreign investor participation. The optimism aligned with earlier projections by billionaire investor Femi Otedola, who suggested the naira could trade below 1,000 naira per dollar by the end of 2026. Otedola linked this forecast to the full production capacity of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, designed to process 650,000 barrels per day. He described the refinery as transformational for Nigeria and Africa, emphasizing its potential to reshape the country's energy and foreign exchange landscape. Despite the positive outlook, Dangote stressed the need for stronger protection for local investors. He identified electricity shortages as a persistent constraint on industrial growth. Analysts said that if reforms continued, fuel import bills declined and industrial capacity expanded, the naira could see further stabilization. However, external factors such as oil prices, foreign reserves, and global monetary conditions will also play critical roles. Policy stability and increased investment to unlock the country's waste wealth potential at the ongoing Nigeria Circular Economy Week. The event, which began on Monday, will be concluded tomorrow at the Lagos Continental Hotel. During a working group session attended by local operators, foreign investors, academics, and development partners, the excursions focused on building a viable business model for large-scale mixed waste processing in Nigeria. Founder and director of Sweep Smart, Mr. Niels van den Hoek, said the session examined Nigeria's waste ecosystem and explored practical pathways to transform existing waste streams into sustainable enterprises. Participants emphasized that while Nigeria generated significant volumes of recyclable and reusable materials, inconsistent policy implementation ability. Industry experts noted that with the right regulatory framework, public-private partnerships, and long-term investments, the country could convert waste challenges into economic opportunities, create jobs, and reduce environmental degradation. The four-day forum is expected to produce actionable recommendations aimed at strengthening Nigeria's circular economy framework and also accelerating private sector participation in waste processing and resource recovery. Believers have been urged to remain steadfast in faith and live each day with eternity in mind, as life is fleeting and uncertain. The charge was delivered by Pastor Samuel David, resident pastor of Mega Praise Church of Christ, during a service of songs held in honor of the late Vivian Ifeanyichukwu Nkechika. Henry Onogwa reports. We apologize sincerely, we cannot bring you details of that story. We're going to bring you details of it in our next bulletin. And now on sports. Team Nigeria's athletics contingent has stepped up preparations for the forthcoming Commonwealth Games. The camp, organized by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, is being held at the Stephen Keshi Stadium and features a mix of seasoned athletes and rising talents. It forms the first phase of a strategy. The full squad will assemble soon. He also praised the high morale in camp, citing good accommodation, quality feeding, and excellent training conditions as key factors boosting the team spirit. With 4 weeks remaining in this first phase, preparations are expected to extend optimistic as Team Nigeria continues its steady march towards the global stage. That's our news. Here is our thought for the day. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. Muslims to use the rare convergence of Lent and Ramadan to promote peace, unity, and national stability as they both commenced on the same day. In a personally signed statement released today,